Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Reading Veterans Day 2024. My name is Will Valier. I'm the Veteran Service Officer of the town of Reading. Today we gathered to celebrate the veterans of Reading and those who came before us, especially those that fought 106 years ago in a war to end all wars. This morning I would like to thank Representative Haggerty, Select Board Chair Carlo Bacci, and all the other Select Board members who have joined us here today. Our guest speaker today is Brigadier General Dana Sandasudo, Massachusetts. In addition, I would like to recognize Matthew Cornelis, Town Manager, Town of Reading. We're also privileged to have with us here today members of the DAV Post 37 and American Legion Post 62, Brian McCormick, Commander. Today, their building was dedicated to them in 1919, 105 years ago. So that's been around a long time, and it's a long time organization, and we thank you for being here. Lastly, and mostly importantly, I want to welcome the Gold Star family members and the veterans of all eras who honor us with their presence here today. I'd like you to remain standing. Father Zukas.
Let us pray. As we gather on this sacred day of remembrance, our hearts are filled with gratitude and reverence for the brave men and women who have served our nation with unwavering commitment. On Veterans Day, we come before you, acknowledging the sacrifices made by our military heroes and expressing our profound appreciation for their selfless service. We thank you for the freedoms we enjoy, freedoms secured through the dedication and sacrifice of our veterans. Today we lift in prayer those who have donned the uniform, those who have faced the challenges of duty with courage and resilience. Bless, Lord, the families of our veterans. May they find comfort and strength in knowing that their loved ones' sacrifices are not forgotten. Be a source of solace to those who have lost dear ones in the line of duty, and let the memories of their service be a peaceful reminder of the cost of freedom. Grant wisdom and guidance to our current servicemen and women stationed at home and abroad. Protect them in their duties, shield them from harm, and bring them safely back to their loved ones. As we embark on this day of reflection and gratitude, may your presence be felt among us. Inspire in us a renewed commitment to honor the legacy of our veterans by upholding the values for which they fought. Guide our nation in fostering a culture of respect and appreciation of those who have served. We offer this prayer with sincere hearts, mindful of the sacrifices that have paved the way for the liberties we cherish. May our gratitude be an enduring tribute to the men and women of our armed forces, past and present. Amen.
This time, remain standing. Present the colors. Prince tonight, this Reading High School to swing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Quinn. I'd like this time introduce to you Representative Richard Haggerty.
Good morning. And thank you, Will, and thank you everyone for being here this morning. Thank you to the General. And thank you for this wonderful weather. I'd like to read a proclamation from our Governor, Maura Healey. Whereas, since the Commonwealth's earliest days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas on November 11th, 1918, after 4 years of conflict, the armistice was signed in the forest of Compiègne by the Allied nations in Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars. And whereas, since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas, in November 2024, the world will commemorate the 106th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And whereas there are approximately 300,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas, in recognition of the sacrifices made by those who have served our great nation, Massachusetts remains committed to supporting its veterans community through the HERO Act, honoring, empowering, and recognizing our service members and veterans. And whereas today, we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions of our veterans. Whereas we honor and salute those who served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas we honor and salute those who have served our country each and every day, it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who have served our country so that their dedication and sacrifices and service will continue to be a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Maura T. Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2024 to be Veterans Day and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston this 11th day of November in the year 2024 and of the independence of the United States of America, the 248th, signed by Her Excellency Maura T. Healey.
Thank you, Representative Haggerty. Next to the podium will be Carlo Bacci, Select Board Chair.
Hello, and thank you for coming. It's a great honor to speak today. Today we honor and salute all of our veterans. Thank you for your sacrifice and dedication to our country. We can never know your lived experiences, but we can listen, honor, and support them. Both of my grandparents served in World War II. My mother's father, Luigi Gistolfo, served in an artillery unit and was captured by the Germans. He was held prisoner for over 2 years, while his family did not know if he was dead or alive until he arrived back home. My father's father, Giuseppe Bacci, served in the war and came back home safe, but tragically perished when he was on his bicycle and rode over a landmine that was left behind. I have never spoken about my grandfathers, and I'm sure that they have many stories to share, but kept them to themselves. I wish I knew more about them, but I think about them often and how their bravery paved the way for generations to come. Let us never forget our veterans and the ultimate sacrifice they made for our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next to the podium, I'd like to introduce our town manager, Matt Cornelis.
Thank you and good morning. On behalf of the town of Reading, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Veterans Day ceremony. I'd like to thank our state delegation, the Select Board, our Veterans Services Officer, Will Valier, our guest speakers, and all the staff and volunteers that made this day possible. We gather here today to remember the brave men and women of the armed forces who have dedicated themselves to the service of their country. We express our deep gratitude and ardent admiration for what they have done and what they continue to do in the furtherance of our freedom. I'd like to ask all veterans in attendance today to please stand if they are able and be recognized with a round of applause. Thank you for your service. We appreciate it. I'd also ask those of us who have veterans in their families, and there are many, and who have friends who are veterans, to remember them today. If they are still among us, give them a call, a text, an email, even better, a handwritten note, to say we are thinking of them, and we thank them for their service and their dedication. I'm sure it would mean the world to them. I would also like to recognize and thank members of the Good Samaritan Masonic Lodge for their generous donation of the flagpole display you see before you. It is a welcome addition to Memorial Park and is fast becoming a favorite landmark of residents and visitors alike. So let's have a round of applause for the members of the lodge for their donation. And we'll be raising those flags a little later. Thank you all again for coming. I wish to wish everybody a happy Veterans Day and a joyous Thanksgiving.
Next, I'd like to introduce to you the Grand Master of Masons of Massachusetts, M.W. George F. Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the brothers of Good Samaritan Lodge, it's my distinct privilege and great personal pleasure to be with you today on this Veterans Day and to celebrate the dedication of the 6 branches of the service flagpoles. The American flag is such an important symbol and one of the ways that we show our unity in our country. It does not symbolize that we agree on everything, as the politics of the day clearly demonstrate. It represents to each person their individual feelings about patriotism, and while we all have different views about what is good or bad or different in our country and the ways we want to move forward, the flag symbolizes that overarching protection that we all enjoy regardless of our politics. That protection allows us to give debate to the great issues of the day in a civil and peaceful way as we try to achieve that more perfect union. To the Masons of Good Samaritan Lodge and throughout the jurisdiction, as we reflect on Veterans Day this year, we are grateful to the men and women who have served our nation. I am especially mindful of our own over 3,000 members of the Masonic fraternity in Massachusetts who are veterans of the United States Armed Services. Across the jurisdiction, lodges have been presenting their veterans with the George Washington Military Service Medal. During my travels, it has been my privilege to present several of these awards. And when I see an event and attend and see a proud Mason wearing the red, white, and blue ribbon of this medal,
I am reminded not only of their military service, but of their continued devotion to our country, to their community, and to our beloved fraternity. In today's conflicts, tens of thousands of veterans return from deployment bearing the traumatic injuries and facing profound challenges, often struggling to find their way in an increasingly disconnected world. Our Masonic fraternity is uniquely positioned to make a difference in their lives. Our Masons, who are often veterans themselves, understand these challenges intimately. They can relate to and empathize with their experiences in ways others cannot. More importantly, our principles align perfectly with our veterans and what they need most. We are at our core a brotherhood, and a brotherhood is precisely what many veterans find missing when they return to civilian life. While many organizations offer financial assistance and critical services, our fraternity provides something truly priceless: friendship and brotherly love. On this Veterans Day, I encourage all of the members to reach out to veterans that you know. Share with them what our fraternity offers to men of good character. We can make a difference. God bless the United States of America.
Next to the podium will be Master of Good Samaritan Lodge, W.R. John J. Galvin, Jr.
Good morning. My name is John Galvin, and I am a member of Good Samaritan Lodge here in Reading. Good Samaritan Lodge has been an active part of this community for 154 years. Over that time, many prominent members of our town have been a part of the lodge, including names you may recognize: Coolidge, Parker, and Killam, for example. As members of the Masonic Lodge, these notable figures contributed to the legacy of service and leadership that continues today. As our lodge's membership continued to seek meaningful ways to engage with the community, we learned of the town's interest in installing flagpoles to honor the 6 branches of the U.S. military. It is with great pride that Good Samaritan Lodge, with generous support of the Grand Lodge of Masons in Massachusetts, was able to raise the necessary funds to purchase these flagpoles and present them to the town of Reading. This donation represents our deep gratitude and respect for all the men and women who have served and sacrificed for our country. On behalf of all the members of Good Samaritan Lodge, I am honored to participate in this dedication as we salute our veterans in their unwavering service. I would like to take a moment to express my thanks to a few individuals who made this project possible. Brother Michael Terry, for his leadership and vision in bringing this project to fruition. Brother John Halsey, for his ongoing support and coordination with the town. Brother James Baxter, for his efforts in organizing this event today. And Brother Brian Scouten, for his invaluable help in procuring the military flags. And also to the Town of Reading Department of Public Works for the great job they did in installing the flagpoles we have here before us. I would also like to invite everyone to Good Samaritan Lodge this Saturday, November 16th from 9 to 11 a.m. We are hosting a collection for the Chelsea Veterans Home. Items needed are deodorants, body wash, razors, bar soap, mouthwash, and large through double extra large size white t-shirts. Please join us for a cup of coffee and in continuing to support our veterans. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak today. It is a privilege to be here as part of this ceremony. I wish you all a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us in honoring our veterans.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin. Next at the podium will be Massachusetts Brigadier General Dana Sandasudo. Dana was commissioned on 23rd February 1995 by the Air National Guard following 11 years of enlisted service. She is a graduate from the Academy of Military Science, OCS program, as a distinguished graduate. Brigadier General, Massachusetts Sandasudo. Professional military training includes basic personnel officer school, captain's career course, combined arms, and service staff school. a Human Resources Management Qualification Course, Intermediate Leadership Education, and the United States Army War College Distance Learning Class 2017. Prior to joining the Army National Guard, she served as a personnel officer in a variety of different assignments for the Air National Guard. She transferred to the Army National Guard on 30 June 2001 as Adjutant General Corps Officer. Her assignments include Recruiting and Retention Command, Brigade S1 for both the 79th Troop Command and the 151st Regional Support Group, Special Projects Officer, Family Programs, Active Guard Reserve Manager, Joint Forces Headquarters, Executive Officer, 151 Regional Support Group Operations Officer, and Regional Training Institute, and Deputy Chief of Staff Personnel, Joint Forces Headquarters. She deployed from 11 February 2011 to 14 February 2012 as the S1 for the 26th Yankee Brigade, supporting Operation Enduring Freedom. Her command assignment include Commander of Headquarters and Headquarters Detachment, Joint Forces Headquarters Commander, Recruiting Retention Battalion, and Commandant of the 101st Regional Training Institute. She holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, in Sociology and Social Work. She earned a Master's of Strategic Studies degree from the U.S. Army War College. Her military decorations include the Bronze Star Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, 2 oak leaf clusters, the Air Force Commendation Medal, 1 oak leaf cluster, the Army Achievement Medal, 1 oak leaf cluster, and the Air Force Achievement Medal, the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, National Defense Service Medal, the Afghan Campaign Medal with 2 campaign stars, Global War on Terrorism Medal, an Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Service Ribbon, Armed Forces Reserve Medal with Silver Hourglass with DM device, NATO Medal, and the National Guard Recruiter Badge. Other awards and achievements, Brigadier Sandasuda retired from the Army on August 31st, 2022 as a colonel. She was advanced to the rank of Brigadier General, Massachusetts on 27 October 2023. She's the mother of twins Comfort and John, age 25, and she raises her niece Ariana and nephew Logan, age 19 and 17 respectively. And I almost want to say that she was my former supervisor while I was up at Transition Assistance Advisor at Joint Forces Headquarters. Without further ado, Brigadier General Sandasuda.
Thank you so much, Command Sergeant Major Valier. All of that means that I served for a really long time and I'm really old, so thank you for that. Distinguished speakers, veterans, families, ladies and gentlemen, as CSM Valier indicated, I'm Brigadier General Massachusetts Dana Sanders Udo, retired colonel from the United States Army National Guard, and it's a privilege for me to attend your Veterans Day ceremony today. I want to say that military service has been the honor of my life. I grew up in a place called New Bedford, Massachusetts, not Bedford, Massachusetts, New Bedford, and in the housing projects, and achieving the rank of colonel for me means that I'm blessed, and I have really come a long way, baby, from New Bedford. And I owe my success to having a mother who raised me with a really heavy hand, which I don't recommend, and everything I learned from serving in the United States military. As a National Guard retiree, I represent 430,000 men and women who currently serve in the National Guard. Today, I honor all military veterans and service members who swore an oath to protect and defend our freedoms. Our freedoms were bought and paid for by the sacrifices of our veterans, as the speakers before me indicated. From Valley Forge, Pennsylvania to Kandahar, Afghanistan, National Guard members alongside their active duty counterparts and reservists stood watch over our liberties, often at great personal cost. Our service members leave the comfort of their homes to face unknown dangers, missing precious moments with their loved ones. Others have paid with their health, bearing physical and emotional scars that may never fully heal. And some, far too many of my good friends and probably yours, have paid the ultimate price, laying down their lives. Their memories live in the freedoms that we enjoy, and we honor their legacy by supporting the veterans who are still with us. So again, thank you for your service to all the veterans gathered here today. When we think of military service, we often think of men's contributions, which are obviously very courageous. But as a female veteran today, I'd like to take a few moments to reflect on women who served throughout our history. Women served in the Revolutionary War in supportive roles like nurses, cooks, and maids, and some were more directly involved and served as secret soldiers and spies. Referred to as the Daughters of Liberty, they did more than their share to help win American independence. Our very own Deborah Sampson later disguised herself as a man in order to fight on the front lines in the Continental Army. During the War of 1812, women sewed the flag that inspired Francis Scott Key to write the national anthem. Women tended to the wounded, defended property against looters, and conveyed important messages across enemy lines. Women supported the Mexican-American War from 1846 to 1848, serving as support systems for soldiers. During the Civil War, although mostly serving as nurses, more than 400 women disguised themselves as men, starting to see a pattern here, and they fought in the Union and Confederate armies. This was the first time in history that women played such a significant role in the war effort. Annie Oakley, during the Spanish-American War, she offered President William McKinley the services of a company of 50 lady sharpshooters who would provide their own arms, ammunition, and the government should war break out in Spain, so they were ready to go. During World War I, more than 40,000 women served in relief and military duty. The Women's Army Corps, you've heard of WACS, was a U.S. Army unit created during World War II, enabling women to serve in non-combat roles, changing the exception from nurses only. With the establishment of the WACS, more than 150,000 women served. An Army unit that I learned about this year, called the 6888, had a special mission in World War II to sort and clear a 2-year backlog of mail for Americans stationed in Europe between the Army, Navy, Air Force, Red Cross, and uniformed civilian specialists. That amounted to about 7 million people waiting for their mail. And the responsibility to deliver it fell on the shoulders of 855 African-American women. From February 1945 to March 1946, the women of the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion distributed mail in warehouses in England and France. Part of the Women's Army Corps, the 6888 motto was no mail, low morale. And anybody that's deployed knows the value of receiving mail in packages. But these women did far more than distribute letters and packages. As the largest contingent of black women to ever serve overseas, they dispelled stereotypes and represented a change in racial and gender roles in the military. During the Korean War, 120,000 women served on active duty. A third of them were healthcare providers. 265,000 women served in Vietnam. Of those, 11,000 women were boots on the ground in Vietnam, and that's something we rarely hear about. During the Gulf War, women undertook roles as pilots, intelligence officers, and support staff, showcasing their capabilities in critical decision-making and operational effectiveness. Notably, approximately 40,000 women served on active duty, contributing to logistics, communications, and medical support. Finally, from March 03 to December 2011, nearly 300,000 women served across both Operations Iraqi and Enduring Freedoms, OEF and OIF. Like their male counterparts, many were wounded, killed, or taken as POWs, like Lieutenant Colonel Tammy Duckworth. While serving as a helicopter pilot in 2004, Duckworth suffered severe combat wounds, which caused her to lose both of her legs and some mobility in her right arm. She was the first female double amputee from the war. After retiring from the Army, she went to work for the Department of Veterans Affairs, later becoming the first female veteran to serve in both the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate. Like Specialist Shoshana Johnson, Johnson was the first black female prisoner of war in the military history of the United States. During the Battle of Nasiriyah in Afghanistan, she was shot in Iraq. She was shot and captured by Iraqi forces. For 22 days, Johnson was held alongside 5 other members of her unit and was later freed on April 13, 2003, in a rescue mission conducted by the United States Marine Corps. I'm also an OEF veteran. I served from 2011 to 2012. We must also acknowledge the family members of those who serve. Their sacrifice and strength have not gone unnoticed. Most of us who serve would not be anywhere without our family members providing the support that they do. Our family members keep the fires burning when we're deployed. They provide comfort during difficult times, and they show incredible resilience in the face of uncertainty. Our veterans and families have shaped the country we live in today. They've defended our freedoms, protected our values in the face of uncertainty. Today, as we enjoy the blessings of liberty, let's take a moment to reflect on the true cost of freedom. We all know that freedom isn't free, but we all know that it's worth fighting for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Santasudo. This time, Reading Memorial High School Band will play America the Beautiful. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to dedicate the 6 service flagpoles. And at this time, I'd like to welcome up the individual service members from the United States Army to raise their service flag. If you remember a veteran that would like to come up and raise your service flag, please do so. United States Army, thank you. Next up, I'd like to invite United States Marines. Any veteran that'd like to raise their colors, please step forward. Next up, I'd like to bring up Navy veterans to raise their service flag. Next up would be United States Air Force. Those that are in the Air Force, please step forward to raise your service flag. And our newest service is the Space Force. Do I have anybody here that is a member of the United States Space Force? No? Okay. I'm going to ask their sister service, the United States Air Force veterans, to please assist me in raising the colors of the service of our newest service branch, U.S. Space Force. And last but not forgotten, United States Coast Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up for today's Veterans Service Flag raising and the dedication of these service flags. Without the Good Samaritan Lodge's kindness and generosity, these flags would not be flying today. So I want to thank and extend my gratitude to the Good Samaritan Lodge of Reading and their generosity so we could have such a fine sight as we have here today. So thank you with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have something that I'd like to have a special presentation. And Michael Melicani, will you please come forward? Mike? Mike Melicani is a United States Air Force veteran. And he's also a spouse of a United States Army veteran who I'm going to allow Representative Haggerty and General, okay?
The certificate reads, "To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has presented the Medal of Fidelity for Sergeant Christina M. Hannigan, United States Army. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 33, Section 67B, there shall be a Medal of Fidelity, which shall be awarded to the next of kin of servicemen and women from the Commonwealth who died as a result of either combat-related post-traumatic stress disorder or other disorder, approved by the Adjutant General, condition resulting from a service-connected traumatic brain injury or a combat-connected disease, condition or injury related to the exposure to harmful toxins, herbicides, agents, or materials where the exposure occurred while serving in the armed forces of the United States, active or reserve components, or the Massachusetts National Guard." Signed, Governor Maura T. Healy, Governor, and Gary W. Keith, Major General, Massachusetts National Guard, the Adjutant General.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this year's Veterans Day ceremony at Memorial Park. We extend to you an invitation to join us at the Good Samaritan Lodge located on Haven Street. The entrance to the hall is on the side in Linden Street. Please join us for some light refreshments, and if you would. But right now, I'm going to allow the horns section to do one last final tribute, if you would. Mr. Mulligan. Father Zukas.
Let us pray. Loving God, we thank you for granting us the freedom and opportunity to gather and honor our veterans today. As we ready ourselves to go forth from this place, help us, dear God, to see your face in every veteran we encounter. Guide us as we both seek new ways and practice our present ways to support veterans and their families. Bring healing and peace to all who have been wounded physically, mentally, and spiritually during wartime. Help us bring your saving grace to heal the invisible wounds of war. Finally, we ask you to accept our thanksgiving for the sacrifices all veterans have made, as we ask all of this in your name. Amen.